Hey everybody, it's Judy Klock, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Middletown, Virginia, coming to let me see if I can get this out right, coming to you tonight with a live video tutorial. I am just struggling, featuring the Attention Shoppers bundle. Let me always forget to do this. There we go, swap it out. So this is one of the bundles that is currently on sale. I don't know if you saw the news, but beginning yesterday, it started yesterday on June 5th. All of our bundles are stamp and die bundles. So stamp and die bundles only are an additional 10% off. So bundles are always 10% off in the catalog. Now you can get an additional 10% off the reduced price. So that goes on till June 30th. So if you like this bundle, you can get it now and save even more. So let's take a look. Actually, I have 3 projects for you tonight. We're going to do, as always, a simple stamping project. And this was inspired. I'm part of a tutorial group, the Sweethearts Global Collective, and we do tutorials. You submit a tutorial and you get to share in all the tutorials that were done that month. This was one of the tutorials, and because they are anonymous, I don't know which demonstrator came up with this design, so I cannot give any credit. But this was one of the tutorials, and I thought it was just such a fun, easy stamp, way to make the card. I figured we would do that tonight. Then I've got really stepping up, using a whole bunch of dies. We're using all those fabulous Attention Shoppers dies, plus one of the circles from Spotlight on Nature. And that's just going to be a fun little birthday card that we can make, and you're getting all those goodies for your birthday. And then I was making these last night to send with my when I send out my June workshop packets. And this was just such a cute little easy treat box. I figured I'd show you again how to make it. I've done this before many months ago, but they go together so quickly and so easily. And it uses a 3x6-inch piece of paper. So if you've got like 6x6 paper hanging around, this is a great little thing to do with it, because it uses half a sheet. So you can get, 2 of these little treat boxes out of one sheet. And this one, I know for a fact, it holds 3 Werther's Originals. You could probably hold about 3 Hershey's Kisses, or whatever kind of small candy you want to put in there. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and get started with our first card. So this is our simple stamping card. So I'm going to use, for our base, this is our new Summer Splash. It's one of our new in colors. So let me know if you're here watching. Give me a shout out. Let me know where you're watching from. This is a standard 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. I've got a piece of basic white for the inside that is 4 by 5 1/4. We've got a piece of Pool Party for the front that's 4 by 5 1/4. We've got another piece of basic white. This one is 3 3/4 by 5. And then I've just got a scrap here for that heartfelt hexagon punch. I don't even know. It's probably maybe like 2 by 4, 2.5 by 4. It's whatever scrap you have that's going to fit the punch. That's what I would use. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's stamp our Treat Yourself first. And let me just make sure before I stamp this, where did I put my punch? It's over here. I want to make sure this is, because it depends on if it's wide enough. So that is wide enough. Okay. So I'm going to stamp it this way. We're going to go Treat Yourself. I've got my my Summer Splash ink. And I'm just going to, so, you got a lot of people are already done with school, but if you've got end of the year coming up and you need a quick and easy little teacher gift, this is a great card. You could just tuck a little gift card in there. And now I like to kind of add some color to my edges. So if you have a dauber, you could certainly use a dauber. I don't have one handy here. So I am just going to roll my edges in my ink pad. And because these are foam pads, you can get just a little bit of ink right around the edge. Just adds just a little touch of color. Okay, that's all we're going to do with that. Now we're going to come over here. We're going to use our Memento Tuxedo Black. Let me just move this stuff out of the way for now. Less stuff to get messed up. You know how it goes whenever you're crafting, right? Okay, so I've got our little bottle stamp, and I am just going to stamp this randomly on the paper. It doesn't matter. You want to get some full bottles, some partial bottles. Just make sure you ink up the stamp well, because I've done that a couple of times where I didn't really ink it up so great. Okay. And again, just like that one could have been a little bit more inky on it. Okay, and just keep stamping it until you get whatever you like on there. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to put a little bit of a bottom edge there, maybe half of one there. Again, you want to go on and off the paper. Okay, and when you think you have enough, then you have enough. So now we're going to color these with some blends. So I colored the bottles in our light pool party. So, and this is going to go quick. So I'm just going to do one bottle. I actually have a full one already colored because I didn't want to spend all that time coloring, because it can get a little boring for you watching at home to watch me color in, I don't know, 12 different bottles. So we'll just do one whole bottle together. Then I did the top in dark pool party. And if you're wondering why I am wearing a sweater when it is like 87 degrees outside, it is because my husband and I are really not thermostatically compatible. He likes it cold enough to hang a side of beef, and I like it just a tad warmer. So even in the heat of the summer, you will most likely find me in my home with a sweater on. I actually go outside to warm up. It's crazy, but he's great in every other way except for the thermostat issue. But, you know, it is what it is. So all you youngins out there, when you're talking about getting married, talk about where the thermostat's going to be set. One of those important issues you never really thought was going to be an issue. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So I colored the bottle with our light pool party. I colored the top with our darker summer splash. I did light pretty in pink for the label, and for that little round oval, I did light pecan pie. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to color all of those, and when we're done, it's going to look just like that. So if I can bring this down just a wee tad closer. All right, hopefully that's good. All right, so then all we're going to do now is we're going to start layering up everything. So let's add our piece of basic white to the inside. And again, I am keeping this one blank. Sometimes if I'm not sure how I'm going to use a card, I will leave it blank so I can go ahead and just write whatever I want. But, you know, I could turn this into a birthday card. I could turn it into a thank you card. Just really anything. So let's go ahead and add this. Now, before we're going to add this to that layer of pool party. And before we put these layers on our card front, we want to take our ribbon. And I did use our Summer Splash ribbon. Okay, so I took our Summer Splash ribbon. And I took a piece that was about, I don't know, maybe 4.5 inches. I kind of measured out. I just wanted it to be a little bit bigger than the width of my card. Right, so we're going to cut that. Now we're going to flip this over. I'm going to add some seal to each side. And I like the Stampin' Seal Plus. I find it goes on easier for me, and it just holds better, I think. But use whatever. Some people use Scotch tape. You know what? Use whatever works for you. There's no right or wrong way to use your adhesive. So whatever you like. Let me get that out of the way for a second. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and put this. Now we're ready to put this on our card front. Make sure that is the card front. Ask me why, because I've done it before where I've put this on what I thought was the front, but was really the back. All right, I'm going to cut another piece of ribbon, probably about 4.5 inches. I want to kind of angle those ends and we're just going to tie it in a knot right around the ribbon that's already on our card front. Okay. Come on. Always is more difficult when you're doing a live, right? Okay, so now we've got our ribbon. Those ends are a little frayed, so I'm going to come in here and trim them again just to kind of make it look a little bit nicer. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to come in and add our sentiment. I'm going to add this with some dimensionals. Okay, and I'm going to go top and bottom, and I'm going to go kind of off there and off there because we've got that ribbon. So we want to make sure that our dimensionals are not going to hit that ribbon. We want it to hit our cardstock. All right, so there we go. And that is our first simple stamping card. The only thing we did was a punch, but you know, I think even a beginner can use a punch. The punches aren't that difficult to use. So again, a quick and simple little card. Just really, we stamped one image and we just had fun coloring it in. So, and of course you can add as much bling as you want. If you want to like make one bottle pop by adding some wink of Stella to it, you could do that. So, I mean, there's always lots of things that you can do. Now for our next card, we are going to step this up just a bit. Okay, so we're going to stamp a lot of our images. There's 5 different images in here, right? We've got, let me just show you. We've got a plant, a bottle, a cake, flowers, and a gift bag. So we're going to stamp all of those and color all of those, although we're not going to color all of them tonight, but we'll color a couple. So I'm just going to stamp these. All right, we got that. Now make sure you leave room because you're going to want to, you know, put the dies on here. So you don't want to put them too close together. Okay. Sometimes I'll put this a little bit down here to give us a little bit of room. Okay. And then maybe we can do a little small plant here. No, I don't think that's going to fit. Where is my other piece that I punched out from? I don't know what happened to my little scrap. I had it. All right, we'll find it in a minute. All right, so we're going to go ahead, before we go ahead and cut these out, we're going to color at least some of them. Okay, so we're going to color little candles. Okay, we're going to color the swirl on the cake. And I'm using for this, really sticking with the 2024, 2026 in colors. The only one that I sort of added was that pecan pie for that label on the first card. So really, and I use the pool party. But on this card, on this stepped up card, I am really just using all of the 2024, 26 in colors. And I want the light summer splash here. Okay, and you see how quickly, when you're using blends, how quickly it goes. Now, if you don't have all the blends, right? Let's just say you don't have blends. If you have the stamp pad, and we do, we have our summer splash stamp pad right here. Okay, and I just stuck my fingers in it, so yay me. So we've got our our summer splash stamp pad. I'm going to stamp one of my blocks in there because I want to pick up some color. I'm going to take a blender pen, make sure it's clean, and that tip off, and then I'm just going to go ahead and color in. So if you don't have Stampin' blends, you can still, if you have blender pens, you can still do this technique, right? Just use your blender pen and some ink, and look at that. Now, of course, I want to come back in here and kind of smooth out some of those lines, but not too bad, right? It looks, clean off the tip of my blender pen. Just to clean off your tip, you just kind of like wipe it on the paper. And you can do that to in lieu of having Stampin' Up, the Stampin' blends or the Stampin' Write markers. You can use just a blender pen and some ink on a block. Or if you want to get the ink, sometimes people put ink like in there up here in the cover. But to me, it's just as easy to put it on a block and then transfer it from the block. Of course, then you have to clean off your block because messes happen. But okay, so when you're done, let's pretend that we have these all colored. I swore that once I cleaned up my desk, I was going to, keep it neat and organized. And that lasted maybe a month. And now we're just back to chaos everywhere. But I try not to put the chaos. So now we're going to add our dies. Okay. So we're going to add our dies. Now, if you don't have a magnetic plate, which many of you might not, here's a great little tip. This is the 3M, kind of like Post-it tape. This is great for once you have your dies in place. Okay, just kind of holding them where you want them. Okay, I'm going to put that one there. And let's see if I can do a twofer here. Maybe not. We'll see. But nope, I can't. Because once I put that one on. Okay, that looks good. And then get another piece. And we'll just put this one in place. Okay, now let me go grab my mini because I can use the mini with this. And I forgot to grab that earlier. So apologies for not grabbing my mini earlier. And the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machines, the regular and the mini, are also 10% off from now till June 30th. I honestly don't remember. I don't think they've ever put the machines on sale at a discount. So if you have been wanting one of the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machines, whether the standard or the mini, you can get it for 10% off this month. And the mini you can get in the white or the boho blue. So, those are options. But I like the mini when I go on vacation in the RV. If I want to work, I sometimes take the mini along with me just because it's so portable. Okay, so now you pull that off and now your images are perfectly lined up. So having that little bit of, excuse me, 3M Post-it tape definitely helps keep your images right in the dies. So those are looking pretty good. So let's pretend. Well, first let me put my dies back because if not, I could lose them. I'm already losing some. Put those back in there for now. Okay. So now through the magic that is television, or at least YouTube Live, we've got all of our little pieces cut. So there are 5 pieces. They are cut and they are colored and they are ready to be assembled. So I also have pre-cut. I have cut the shopping cart base, right? And I put the adhesive sheet on the back before I cut it because that will just make it much easier to work with than to try to add little tiny glue dots and then you end up getting glue everywhere. And I also put it on the back of the shopping cart basket because I am actually going to stick these items to our shopping cart basket. And again, having that adhesive there just helps instead of trying to get glue on these very, very thin lines. It would be almost impossible. I've got a die cut circle here. This is basic white. I use the Spotlight on Nature dies, one of the second largest dies. There are 2 sets. So in one of the sets, this was the second largest. I've got a piece of our In Color DSP. This is 2.5 by 5 1/4. a piece of Petunia Pop that I have embossed it because after I made my sample card, I thought it looked too plain. So I went ahead and embossed it. And I do not remember the name of this embossing folder, but it is part of one of the suites. And I will, afterwards, I will write down the name in the description below the video. I will write down the name of this embossing folder because right now it's escaping me. And then I've got a piece of our basic white that is 4 by 5 1/4. This is also 4 by 5 1/4. And of course, we've got our pretty in pink card base that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Don't worry about writing all these measurements down. I do a blog post and it will have the measurements for all the cards in the blog post towards the bottom. I make you work for it. But they are there and they are both in imperial and in metric. So if you're watching from one of our sister countries and you use metric, these dimensions will also be there in metric for you. All right, so we're going to add that to the inside. Right now, again, I'm going to add this to our card front. And before I attach it, I'm going to wrap some ribbon around it. So there we go. Let's put this on. Okay. And again, I'm just going to eyeball it, but I'm trying to get it kind of in the center of that piece. But if it's a little bit over, it's okay. All right, and this looks like it's just a wee tad longer. So we're just going to trim that up. All right, now I took the iridescent striped ribbon. I'm sorry, it's striped trim. I keep calling it ribbon, but they call it trim. I just think this is so pretty. Just look at that. And I love it because with the iridescence, it can pick up any of the colors. So this we're going to go, again, maybe about, 6 1/4 inches. Again, not too much bigger than the width of the card that you're going to put it on. And although this is embossed, let's hope it doesn't rip. All right. And again, I'm just going to wrap this around. And I do it this way, just kind of, because there's no point in putting ribbon all the way back here because it's not going to be seen. So why waste the ribbon? Now this I will use liquid glue on because for some reason, whenever I have an embossed piece of cardstock and I try to use Stampin' Seal, it just rips my cardstock. So I have given up the battle. And now I just go with the liquid glue. If you can't beat them, join them. All right. We're going to put this on here. And again, we're just going to eyeball it, make sure it's on there. Now, the thing about liquid glue is it gives you a little bit of extra time to move stuff around if you have to, so that's good. Let me just, now I've got liquid glue on my fingers now, so bear with me. I'm going to grab a baby wipe. These are a must in the craft room. You got to have some baby wipes nearby just to kind of get the glue off. All right. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our shopping cart base to our circle. And I am going to use my pick tool to kind of take off my backing. Okay. Lots of new online exclusives hit yesterday for demos to pre-order. A lot of Christmas things, Halloween things. So I'm excited. I'm going to place my pre-order next week. And I am debating between a couple of things. All right. So we've got our cart. Now this we're going to put on flat. We're not going to use dimensionals because we're going to pop the basket up. But let's go ahead and put this on our card front right now because this is not going to be popped up. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add that. Now, with this, I'm going to take off the covering for my adhesive sheet, and then I'm going to arrange my items in my cart to my liking. Now, now make sure that you don't go below the bottom edge or beyond the right and left edges because you want it to make it look like things are actually in the cart. So I'm going to stick my little gift bag there. Maybe we'll stick our potted plant kind of like in between there. Let's go ahead and add our cake. Put our cake there. All right, now those are all stuck to those. So now I have to add some adhesive to these items because I want to stick in my bottle of wine and I want to stick my flowers in my cart. So that's a pretty full shopping cart. I don't really think you'd ever buy a cake with lit candles, but for this endeavor, it's in our shopping cart. So now we're just going to go ahead and add some dimensionals to this. And we're going to pop this up on our shopping cart base. Okay. All right, going to put these there. Now this is going to obviously extend past our circle, and that's fine because our circle is not popped up. So it's not going to matter if these are popped up. And I want to add a little tiny piece to that bottle neck. So let me just come here. Those edge pieces are great for little skinny things like this bottleneck. Okay, so now we're ready to add our cart to our base. Okay, and again, just eyeball where you think it should go. That looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to cut another piece of our trim. And we're going to tie that in a knot. I'm famous for tying ribbon trim in knots. Just, it's easy. You don't have to worry about trying to make that bow. And it just adds something pretty. All right. Tie that up. Okay. If you want to trim it, you can trim it. That is a little long. Let's trim that just a bit. Okay, there's one. And there's two. Now we've got another little piece here, and we're going to stamp our happy birthday in our pretty in pink. And we'll pop this little sentiment up too. This is probably about a 1/2 inch wide. This is like one of those pieces that you keep after you trim your basic white down to like your 4 inch by 5 1/4. And you have all those extra pieces. That's one of those scrap pieces. So that's where those come in handy. So now I want to flag the end. So I'm going to trim it there. Now I'm going to cut a little piece here, just a little slit. And then I'm going to come from the edge up to that slit. And I'm going to come from the other edge up to that slit. Okay. And just take out those pieces. I got a cute little flag and our dimensionals, which I just had. All right, kind of pop this right down here. Okay, happy birthday. And then we are going to, that's it. So that's it for this card. So our little second card where we did all those fabulous die cuts and coloring, right? We did a little embossing there. So we've got a great little card. And then we want to make our little treat holder. So again, this is a 3 by 6 inch piece of designer series paper. You can use either side. It doesn't matter. So now we need to do a little bit of scoring. Let me pull in my paper trimmer. All right. So I want to score this at 3 inches. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it so my 3 inch side is at the top. And I want to make just a little tick mark. I don't want to score all the way. Just a little tick mark at 1.5 inches on the top and on the bottom edge. Now, I'm going to kind of fold this over so I can see that middle crease. I've got my little 1.5 inch tick mark up here. Got my little 1.5 inch tick mark here. Now, I want to take and I want to crease it from the fold, the center fold, up to that tick mark. So we're going to score it on the diagonal on each side. So we're going to do it there. We're going to flip it on this side. We're going to do the same thing from that little tick mark to that fold line. And then we're going to do it here too. So we've got our little fold line and our tick mark somewhere right there. Okay. And then same thing. We're going to turn here and go from a tick mark to that fold line. So when you're done, you're going to have 4 diagonal lines on there. 2 on each side of that center fold, left and right. All right, so we're just going to kind of crease these. Now, again, you can finger crease these because, designer series paper is not as thick as cardstock. So you want to just, make sure you don't rip it. So now I'm going to fold 2 of these together, and I'm going to use just a regular hole punch, a regular office trimmer hole punch, office supply hole punch, rather. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, I'm just going to hole punch between those 2 sides. Okay. Now, you're going to take a piece of ribbon, and for this, I'm going to use this sheer white. Now, when you go to fold it, make sure that make sure that the same 2 pieces are on the inside and the same 2 pieces are on the outside. You don't want to have like 1 and 1, right? You want to make sure it's the same. So I'm going to put my right side is going to be the inside. My left side is going to be the outside. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to feed this through my 2 holes. Maybe not. It's so much easier when you're doing it without an audience. All right, so we got that. Now, you want to go ahead and fill in whatever you're going to put in there. I am currently out of candy to fill in there, but I would put like my 3 Werthers or my 3 Hershey Kisses, whatever I wanted to put in there, I would put in there. And then I would come through and I would put this through the other 2 holes. Oops, there we go. Let's go. Come on. Okay, so I would just put that through and just tie this. Let me trim this. Let's trim this so it's easier to tie. Just tie this in a bow, and you've got your great little treat pouch to put either a little candy in there, if you want to, I don't know, give somebody like money, whatever you want to put in there that's going to fit in that little thing. Now, you could make this bigger. You could do like 4 inches by 8 inches. You could go as big as you want. I've done like 2 inches by 4 inches. That's pretty small though. You're really not going to fit, but that's it. That's our little treat box. So very easy. It's all self-contained. There is no adhesive involved at all. And like I said, this is great if you've got lots of 6-inch by 6-inch paper just hanging around. Perfect. So those are our 3 projects for tonight. I hope that you liked these. Next week, I will be working with the Hearts and Hugs. On my Stampin' with Crafty Klock Facebook page, I kind of put a schedule of everything that I'm going to be working with in June. So if there's a particular set that you want to see, you can, mark your calendars and be sure to tune in. And if there's a set that you would like me to work with, go ahead and let me know. If I have it, I will try to work it into my schedule. If I don't have it and it's not one that I'm going to buy, I'll be sure to let you know. Can't afford to buy them all. So I kind of buy the ones that I like and I think I'm going to have fun playing with. So that is it for me. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time. I know there's lots of demos out there on YouTube and on Facebook, and you could watch lots of them, but the fact that you came here to watch me, I really appreciate your support. I'm trying to grow my channel, my business, so I really appreciate you. Thank you for being here with me. I hope you have a lovely evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you all next week. Bye for now. Happy stamping.